Everybody be cool, everybody be cool. The sky is intact, Audi is open, and some bellend out the front is still doing wheelies on his motorbike. The day after the EU referendum, you asked Google, what is the EU? Well, I'll tell you. The EU is an institution which allows the refugees of its wars to die in its waters, creates colonies of debt out of its poorer nations, to quote Jeremy Corbyn, and is an instrument of privatisation of public services on a continental scale. The EU is an imperialist bloc. So I vote to leave because, sorry not sorry, I don't want to be part of an imperialist bloc. You may say I'm a dreamer, but if the last 48 hours are anything to go by, I'm definitely not the only one. I'm going to pause here to point out something really obvious. 17 million British voters, including ethnic minorities and immigrants, are not actually racist. It is unfortunate that for as long as I can remember, politicians from across the spectrum have pumped out racist bile via the mainstream media. Classic divide and rule tactics. Of course, some people are racists, and racism is really, 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 really bad. So bad, in fact, that in a pre-referendum world, I participated in demonstrations in my local area to stop racists from being able to march through our towns, intimidating people and communities. Brexit or no Brexit, this will have to continue. So everybody who voted to remain in the EU because they don't like bigots, I look forward to seeing you on the streets next time Britain First comes to town. The day after the referendum, the Bank of England somehow managed to rustle up 250 billion quid to calm the markets, which is odd because last week we couldn't even afford to pay for student house bursaries, which kind of goes to show what the EU is really about. It's a money club which has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with international solidarity, unless you're minted. The Prime Minister has resigned. It looks like there will be a general election this year. Anybody who has ever struggled against this crumbling Tory government, whether that was against the imposition of unfair, unsafe junior doctor contracts, the forced academisation of our schools, the draconian cuts in benefits for people who are sick and disabled, the destruction of our steel industry. If you just have a general problem with austerity, this is our chance. So at the time of recording, the pro-war, pro-austerity wing of the Labour Party has taken the opportunity within the chaos to try and depose Jeremy Corbyn as the leader. Now personally, I think it was a bit of a boob by him to campaign for a Remain vote when, up until a couple of months ago, he was in favour of leaving pretty much for the exact same reasons that I just outlined. And because he did that, the debate kind of became about which group of Tories were the least worst. But no matter, because actually only the anti-austerity programme that inspired hundreds of thousands of people to back Jeremy Corbyn for leader in the first place can have a hope in hell's chance at uniting the working people left behind by the political establishment with the young uns who voted to remain in the EU because, hey, at least it's more progressive than the Daily Express. Any MP attempting to undermine building an anti-austerity alternative is no socialist, no friend of working people, should receive not a penny in trade union funding, and frankly, has no right to stand under a Labour banner. Labour MPs who think their austerity-like programme of a word of casual racism is so amazing, you are more than welcome to put it to the voters. Oh wait, no, already did that. So yeah, the world today is a bit more dicey than it was before. But let's face it, last week weren't exactly a golden age for public services, living standards, workers' rights and racial harmony. Corbyn, if you're watching, call a general election, mate. And while the establishment is in total meltdown, maybe, just maybe, if we all went on strike together, I'm sure we can all think of at least one good reason. We can finish off these Tories, blue, purple and red. Share, subscribe, see you later.